So this video that you're about to watch has been recorded by the head of retention marketing at my agency, Hayes. His name is Dan, and he crushes it across all of our clients for the projects that we work on with regards to email marketing. So you are in safe, good hands. And yeah, enjoy the video.
Hey everyone, today I'm going to show you live exactly how to set up and run 8 A/B tests every week in Klaviyo that will supercharge your email results. I'm Dan, and over the past few years, I've helped e-commerce brands scale from $31,000 to over $311,000 in email revenue, all by testing smarter and not just sending more emails. Testing isn't optional anymore. It's genuinely the #1 way to learn what your audience loves and scale faster than your competitors. So let's get into it. First of all, why can you trust me? Again, I mentioned one brand which we scaled from 31,000 to 311,000. Another brand, 120,000 over to 681,000. Here's a good example of a brand that we work with which brought in every month just under $300,000 just from email campaigns every month. First of all, why weekly A/B testing matters. So before we dive into the main topic and the exact A/B test that we recommend you use, let's talk about why you should test every week. So first of all, email marketing changes rapidly, changes every day, sometimes every week. And what worked last month might not work today, it might flop. So consistent testing is what lets you build a data-driven growth machine that actually works. And the best part, small tweaks can drive huge wins. So today, as I mentioned, I'm going to be giving you the 8 tests that are essential, and I'll show you exactly how to set them up in Klaviyo. So first of all, starting with subject lines. Okay. So let's move over to Klaviyo. Before we get into Klaviyo, actually, I want to show you this testing calendar. So here we have a Google Sheets that labels every test that we're going to do per month. Okay, the way we like to lay it out. So we have here flow campaign, what flow or what email it is that's going to be tested on, the name of the test, so what type of test it is, the objective of the test, the hypothesis, so the theory behind why we're testing it, different variables, so what are we going to be testing here? Is it the copy? Is it subject line, etc., etc.? The type, so here flows, similar to the first one. Key KPI, it's always placed order rate, usually, but maybe for a specific campaign you want to test open rates like a subject line. But the main key KPI, as I mentioned in the previous video, is always placed orders. Okay, we always want to make sure that we're picking the one with the highest order rate. Test duration, how long you want to run it, or the owner. This is if you have a team and you want to assign an owner to it. And then there's stage, not started, building, live, completed, and then the results. And this is something that we do every month. So before the month starts, before, in this case, we're in June, so before July starts, we'll plan out in advance the whole of July and what we're going to be testing for July. This is suggest that you create a table like this while you're watching the video. Feel free to copy mine if you like, and this will help you keep track of all the results that you're doing. I know Klaviyo does have its own like experiments tab where you can see all the A/B tests of running and the results of everything, and that is useful. But I think just to have your own spreadsheet with everything in there, all the data that you have, I think is invaluable, and I think everybody should have it. So definitely create that before doing anything else. So first of all, we have subject lines. 3 types that I suggest you try out is curiosity versus direct benefit, emojis versus no emojis, personalized versus generic. So I know the second and third one is probably quite obvious, right? One with emojis, one without. The third one is like personalization, for example, the first name versus not having the first name. And I'm just going to show you an example of setting this up. So let's do the first one, curiosity versus direct benefit. Say, first of all, struggling with skin problems or struggling with acne, question mark. That would be your curiosity driven, right? Or this method will cure your acne or prevent breakouts, right? So this is like direct benefit, like, okay, this method will do X, right? Whereas struggling with acne, question mark. So it's good to test out this different type. This is curiosity versus direct benefit, direct solution. Okay, so that's the first test. Obviously, I believe the second and third is very obvious on how to do it. So emojis versus not, personalized versus generic. Great. So subject lines. So you set up your test here. Here we want to test open rate, and we can just save that. So final one on the subject line and open rate is the preview text. So we have FOMO versus clear benefit, short versus long preview, and then personalization. So in this case, we're only testing one variable at a time, right? So this is one test in itself. The preview text would be the same. So maybe it's like flash sale now on, right? And the 2 preview texts would be the same if we're doing a subject line test. Now, if we're switching it out, we'll do in this case, the curiosity driven headline sorry, subject line 1, and we want to send another email to the rest of the list that haven't received it with the winning subject line. Then we would do this, and we can test the preview text. So let's say FOMO, so flash sale on our skincare products ends tonight. That would be our FOMO. And then the second one is clear benefit, so struggling with acne. You could then put this new skincare routine is guaranteed to improve your skin quality. Okay. Ideally, it wants to be shorter than this. This is quite long, but in this case, we can just keep it as is. So this is same subject line. We're only testing the preview text. Here we have the flash sale, the FOMO versus the direct benefit. Then the other one, short versus long. So as I mentioned, ideally shorter, but let's test it, see if that works. And then again, personalization in preview text is also worth trying out. Move over to the next test. So the third test, CTA copy. So for this one, we're going to have to go in to the email. So here we have our CTA button. Okay. For this one, let's do colors and shapes. One thing that I've noticed can work well. So again, one at a time. All right. Choose a color or choose a shape. Don't choose a color and a shape. So in this case, one thing that I've noticed can work really well. Actually, if you're using inside Klaviyo, you can use full width versus fit to text. This is what it looks like on mobile. Full width. Yeah. And this is very simple to set up, super quick. But again, I've seen click-through rates improve just by increasing the width of the button. So in this case, we're going to keep the A test as the normal one, and then you'd make the B test. I won't show you this just for time's sake, but then you'd make the B test a full width. Okay, that's an example of a shape. Now color. So let's say we want to try like standard color. Maybe your standard color on the PDP is more around like a blue, and then we can test a red or a yellow, which is more urgency driven. Interestingly, yellow, which is kind of like your McDonald's style color. You want to get like the McDonald's color, which I don't know the hex code of McDonald's. Actually, let me find it. There we go. Is that really? Okay. Maybe it's just looking strange in Klaviyo, but this is okay. There's a reason why McDonald's has that color. You can look into the psychology of it, the red and yellow, but it's to do with urgency. It's because they want people, it's fast food, right? They want people to get in and out as quickly as possible. So if you're testing colors, I recommend testing colors like psychological colors and have a look into it. Reds and yellows are your urgency. Your purples and blues are to build trust and authority. So it's like pick a campaign. So say if you're going to do a flash sale, try out yellows and reds. If you're doing a social proof, try out blues and purples and see if it moves the needle or not. So again, same thing here. A test will just keep as the normal color, and then the B test would be in this case, a yellow, right? So that's a good example of colors and shapes. Urgency and subtlety, again, I think that's pretty straightforward. Short versus descriptive. So take a screenshot, try out these. Again, one variable per test, always. Don't get tempted to do full width and a color because you don't know if it's the color that moved the needle or if it was the fact of putting it full width. So always test one variable at a time. And this is why it's great, because you can have loads of these tests running at once to gather lots of data. That's CTA copy. Send time. This is pretty self-explanatory. So really, you've got three options here: the morning versus evening, trying weekday versus weekend, and then smart send time. So you could have every week, you could have three flow emails that have the A/B test. One goes out in the morning, one goes out in the evening, another email that goes out the weekday versus the weekend, and then you can just have on your campaigns a smart send time test running like in a self-explanatory way to find out what's your ideal send time for your campaigns. And that can also translate over to flows. Copy length. Okay, so really, again, self-explanatory, short and punchy versus long and detailed. Always worth having this in your back pocket. And bullet points versus paragraphs. So in this case, we have here bullet points split out, and then you would do this exact same email, but without the bullet points and just with a paragraph. Okay, so that's worth testing. So those are the two here. Email design. Now, this is super important. Okay, the first one, I would say, out of all of them, is the one that's moved the needle most for us. and that's plain text versus design. So what does plain text look like? So this technically you could say is plain text, but it's not because it has an image here, right? You have your logo, which you would replace. So it's and the button is also designed. So this is technically a designed email. Now, if we wanted to go and create a plain text version, exit out of here, go on an A/B test here. A test will be our control. So this is our designed email. Forget the button color for now. I know I haven't changed that. Okay, so say you wanted to do the plain text versus design. So we have the first email here looking basically like a designed email, your header, your CTA button. Say A test will be just your control, the regular design emails that you send out. Then for the plain text version, you want to go here. When you duplicate it, you have to click change template, and then you want to go text only. And then it will open up this rich text editor where you can have all your formatting here, the font, and then your different types, heading, and your size. So what we tend to do is have high, and then it'll be there. Some personalization at the beginning, and then you just write as normal. So say I'm just gonna write lots of copy here, not real, obviously, and then thanks. Damn. Now this looks a bit messy. Okay, so let's get into the formatting, and this is super important. I see so many brands doing this wrong. They just don't format it correctly. So 180 to space it out. That's definitely, first of all, I recommend this. Put your font as, say, Arial, and then here you can get a bit clever with how you want it to look. So you can have a space here, maybe, space here, maybe. And I'm just holding Shift, Enter to do this. So there we go. Obviously, it would look like you've actually written some copy, but you can get the idea of the formatting here and what it looks like, and then preview, show directly in Klaviyo, and you can sort of see what it looks like, right? Again, test this via your designed emails and do this regularly, because you'll be surprised how much the plain text emails, how big of an impact they have. So the last two, heavy images versus minimal, and layout structures. Again, your brand will have its own different layout structures. I don't think there's like one layout structure that's the best. It's just important for your designer to test different modules, different ways of displaying certain things in your email, right? Personalization, again, pretty straightforward. I think it's self-explanatory. We've got first name in the subject or the body copy, using location-based offers, and then personalized product recommendations by using dynamic blocks based on what they've been viewing on the website. Now, I'll do a deeper video on personalization because it can get a little bit more complicated. But I think for now, testing, like trying out these and experimenting with these three is a good start. Offers and incentives, very straightforward. So trying percentages off versus dollar off. This is definitely a worthy contender here. That's why it's at the first. Free shipping versus loyalty points. And then buy one, get one free versus like a gift with purchase or something. So I'm not going to go too much into the personalization offers. I think this is its own video, but you can kind of get an idea of what you can start testing. So say you've got a sale coming up this month. Usually, I know most brands do a percentage off. Try $1 off and see if you can offer like a little bit, depending on the brand. If you're a furniture brand, so from furniture brand, the $1 off, say 10% off $3,000. If you say 10% off versus actually you're getting $300 off, or up to X amount of dollars off, you can pick your highest price item on the website, and then in your copy you can say up to X dollars off based off of your highest ticket product on your website. That's legal. You're allowed to do that because it's up to, right? And test it versus your standard percentage off. And those higher dollar amounts off seem more attractive, worth trying out. So lastly, let's summarize. So I've shown you live how to set up some simple tests. Now it's up to you to go away and, implement these tests. Start testing, basically. Inside your Klaviyo, after you set a test live, check your A/B test results after 24 to 48 hours. Have a look and see if you can see a clear winner. For example, highest open rates, click-through rates, or revenue. But remember, revenue is king. So we want to always make sure we keep an eye on that metric above all else. Once you found your winner, make that your new control and just keep testing. That is how to run 8 essential A/B tests every week. So quickly, I'll recover them, go over them again. Subject lines, here's the 3. Preview texts, these 3. There's also a pro tip here. Use this for a blank preview text. So if you just want to have a subject line and you want no copy in your preview text to really test whether or not your subject line is moving the needle, you can use this code here and suggest screenshotting that. CTA copy, send time, copy length, email design, personalization, and offers and incentives. These are the 8 tests. I suggest pick one of each and run them every single week for your brand. Track the results and watch the compound growth start to take effect over the next few months. Awesome. That's it. Go run those tests and watch your revenue grow. Speak soon.